Here we go, man.
All right.
Jared Ryder. Welcome to Domestic Dad Cleaning Up the Mess.
Thank you for having me. I am extremely excited to be here. Super pumped.
Yeah, man. I'm excited to have you because I've been paying attention to your YouTube channel and I just love it, man. I love the energy. I love that you've gone through, what you've gone through and you just put it out there, and I'm just with it. So when I saw that, I was like, dude, I gotta talk to that guy. I gotta talk to that guy. So just to get us kicked off, man, I start these with like, tell me what your childhood was like.
Okay.
And I would like to just invite you to do that. So
all right,
get us going.
So my childhood, it was me and my sister, my mom. We lived with my grandparents, and they kind of raised us because my mom worked a lot, which, that way she made sure that we had everything, which, my grandparents did a really good job of raising us because, my father, he was out doing other stuff.
Yeah.
And, as a young kid, when he would come around, it would be like, whoa, hey, my dad's here. All right, what are we going to do? But my grandparents knew that they didn't want me to go with him because they knew he was, at the bar doing other stuff all day and night. And so I thank God that they took care of us because they knew better than to just let me go with him. But yeah, other than that, my mom and grandparents did a really good job raising us.
Yeah. So, do you have any early memories of ever being around your dad or seeing any of that stuff?
Yes, I do. I remember we were in his friend's camper, and it was me and my sister, and we were just sitting in there while he was in the bar. And he came out and he was like slurring his words and stuff. And I remember him falling off one of the beds. And I thought, oh, he's just playing around. When you're 5, 6 years old, you don't know any better. So you just kind of laugh it off. But then as time went on and, my mother talked to me about it, and it's like you notice stuff and you realize it even at a young age. Some of the stuff you don't remember, but those, to be 5, 6 years old and to be able to remember that now, obviously it was, something that probably shouldn't have happened, that you shouldn't have done in front of your children, but
right.
It did. So
yeah, we all have some family of origin stuff that we remember from back then, and I think it plays a significant role in terms of like pattern and what we model, like, because when you're given those memories and given that kind of stuff kind of gets, I don't know, quote unquote, imprinted on you.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You remember that, and you remember that behavior that was from your father or from your parent, if you will, was acceptable.
Yeah, someone you're supposed to be looking up to.
Yeah,
a role model, and it's like, okay, well, I guess this is okay to fall down. It's
yeah.
I'm just glad that my mother got away from that. She was this, a strong person to say, hey, this isn't what I want my kids to be around. This isn't how my life's going to be.
How old were you when that happened? When you remember your mom saying, there's a problem and I'm going to move in a different direction?
So they got divorced when I was 3.5 years old.
Yep.
And I just thought it was, okay, whatever. And, we would go over there to his house every once in a while, but my mom she didn't trust him because she knew, okay, if he's doing all this stuff in front of me, what is he going to do when I'm not there? Yeah. I'm not going to send my kids over there. She worked her tail off to try to get us away from that. She didn't want us to put her children in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was school like for you when you started going to school, getting around other kids? Did you have a pretty good normal experience there?
I was shy as a kid, man. Like I just the kid like, oh hey, and kids would come up to me, hey, let's go play. I don't know. And then you kind of grow up and you have the same friends throughout the year, which most of those friends I still have to this day, which you know those are your true friends, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's school in the beginning of school, before high school, I did really good in school. I math was like, bam, that was my thing, numbers guy. And then eighth grade, ninth grade, you started getting into that other stuff, and then it's like you stop caring, honestly. Which, if you look back at it now, if I could do all that over, oh yes, of course I would do school over, and I would focus on it and study harder, and yeah, wouldn't have to go back an extra semester, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah. So the other day I was sitting here upstairs with my son and he drops on me and my wife. He was like, I got a D in this class. And my wife shoots me a look. She's like, yeah. And he's in 7th grade, right? Like, so he's 12 years old. He's in 7th grade and he just drops it like it's nonchalant. Like, I got a D. And I was like, saw my wife's look on her face. And I was like, hey, I want to help you understand what the expectation is so we don't have conflict moving forward.
Yeah.
D's are unacceptable. That is way below my expectations. So like, if you want to keep your phone, you want to keep your PS5, you want to keep these fun things that you have in your life, you're going to have to maintain an AB.
Yeah, that's
you go to school to learn, not to clown around and make friends. Yeah,
friends.
Exactly. So I just, that was one of those things that I was like, hey man, can you just make sure that this is a priority? Otherwise we're going to have to start taking some stuff away from you.
Yeah. I mean, cause honestly, and if you give him that mindset to, okay, this is what I have to do for this, he's going to have that for the rest of his life. And no matter what he does, he's going to give it his all on it.
Yep.
And it's like, you want to be strict, but not too strict. You want to have the balance, or whatever they'd say. But
yeah, and they need to understand what's acceptable and what's not, and we want to set the bar high, but I don't know. My mom always did that for me. She was always kind of like, hey, make sure that your grades are maintained and stuff like that. But I was lazy, man. Yeah, I was lazy. And like you said, in like 8th, 9th grade, when what hairstyle you had and what brand of shoes you were wearing and what other kids had versus what you had, like you start to let comparison creep in at that point. And that's just, I always tell people, comparison is the thief of joy.
Yes.
And at that age, it can be so impactful to the rest of your life as to how you let it affect you.
It really can. And I think that's why they kind of put the uniforms into play.
Yeah.
This guy can't afford Jordans. Like, well, not a lot of people can.
Yeah.
But that's why they switched the code up. And yeah, I don't know. It's like, no matter what you do in life, somebody's gonna either make fun of you for it or judge you for that.
Yeah.
No matter how good you are. I mean, that's the sad part. But
yeah. No, the world's tough, man. It's tough on kids.
It is.
Yeah. So the rest of high school was pretty normal for you, or
it was kind of a blur.
Yeah. What'd you get into that made it a blur?
Just the parties. I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
And if I wasn't going to one, I was having one. I mean, kegs were cheap. I knew people who could get them, somebody's uncle or somebody's dad. I mean, and that's, another sad part about life. It's like somebody's dad bought us beer when we were freshmen in high school. Like, are you kidding me? Like, what is that guy doing now? I wonder. He's probably not a free man, I would imagine.
Yeah, he might be in a tough spot today.
Yeah. But
yeah,
I just partied too much.
Yeah.
I mean,
drinking was a normal thing for you?
Yeah.
Weekend thing, or did you drink like during the week? In high school?
In high school, it was just a weekend thing.
Yeah.
But it was a long weekend, Well, I guess I remember skipping school a couple of times and drinking, but that was probably senior year, maybe sophomore year. Not that it makes it any better because you're a little bit older, but it's
Yeah. Okay. Bring me up into like when you got out of high school, did you go to college, did you get a job? What'd you do?
So like I said, I partied too much in high school, so I had to go an extra semester. That extra semester, I graduated with a 4.0. There's a reason for that. I had gym class and 2 histories classes, and at that time I loved history. So I passed with flying colors, but I worked at Tyson.
Oh yeah.
And I didn't go to college. Sometimes I wish I would have, but then I'd probably just be in debt because I probably wouldn't have did whatever I went to college for. But yeah, I worked at Tyson, and the party continued after high school. That was the thing. It just all my friends were like,
grow
"Oh,
up,
yeah,
grow up." What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Maybe next year. But
I'm older. The girls are older. I have freedom. Everybody else has freedom. We can do whatever we want now. We don't have to be under our parents' supervision. We could get our own house. We could throw our own parties. We could do it whenever we wanted to.
That was the thing. My buddy Joe had his own house, and it was like kegs every weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just because I still had all the high school friends, Okay, I met younger kids when I was there, and they would come to the parties, and yeah, it was a good time, but a bad time because I mean, I don't know, you're young and dumb, But looking back on that time, it's like I could have did something much better with that time instead of just keg standing it away.
Yeah, no, I think that's always you always look back and you say, I wish I could have done this, or I wish I could have done that. If you could go back in time and tell yourself something at that point in time, you got like 5 seconds to do it. What would you say to your younger self back then?
Quit while you're ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, they always say don't regret your past, which you shouldn't, because if you learn from it, then it's a different you get a different mindset from that. You grow from it, you get stronger from it, you build yourself, because if I hadn't lived the life that I lived before now, I probably wouldn't be as motivated, as dedicated, as just whatever I'm doing now. I'm going to give it 100% no matter what it takes.
Hell yeah.
To get there. I mean, it's probably a reason why I'm kind of hard on my kids, just because I don't want them to fall in my footsteps. But I think now that everything's done with, they won't, because I'm definitely not going to let them go down the path that I've been down. And that's another sad thing that my mom had to do. She told me all the time, there's two roads in life. You can go down the messed up road, or you can go down the straight one. Unfortunately, I went down the messed up one, and I have learned from that. But yeah,
that comes back to choices, right? Making good ones and having some not be. Oh gosh, Jared, I could unpack this for hours.
Yes,
I really could, because there's a few things.
How much time do we have?
As much as you want. But there's a few things I've learned, and that I would go back and tell myself in those times, is that just because you think it's going to be fun doesn't mean you should do it. Exactly. Right? Just because, your impulse tells you go for it. Don't, do the hard thing so you can get to a place where it's easier. So yeah, I think it just comes down to like choices at that point in time. And I got to be honest with you, between the ages of 18 and 25, I was not a good decision maker.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think I had enough birthdays at that point to be able to be like, this is an impulsive thing and I shouldn't do it, or like this is going to turn out well, or this is going to turn out bad. I was more like, am I going to get caught?
Yeah. Yep. That's the thing too.
the indicator or the the thing about like where I was at is how likely am I to get caught? And if I am, then maybe I'll take pause and try to rethink a smarter way to do this. But if I'm not, I'm just going to go for it.
Yep.
Yeah. So
I remember, like, speaking of trouble, so in 8th grade, I got in trouble. This kid at school wanted a bag of pot.
mm-hmm.
And so I got it for him, and I took it to school. And I remember having it in my bag for like 3 or 4 days. And I'm like, dude, I got this for you, you know? And then all of a sudden I get called to the assistant principal's office, and I'm like, well, that's weird. And I got in trouble. The kid, he got scared. So he told on me. So I got in trouble for it, which should have. I brought it to school, which you're not supposed to have that in school.
No.
But after that, it was like I was on probation. You know, I thought I was learning stuff, but then I continued that troubled cycle. It was like I would get off probation, do something, I think I got a public intox the next time. Boom, back on probation. Got off probation. I got a OWI. It's like the troubled cycle continued until I was older. And then I guess I got smarter and didn't get caught, or was, you know, slick enough to get away with what else I was doing. Didn't drink and drive as much. I don't know what it was, but it's like once you get in that cycle, you kind of stay there. You don't know how to get out of it, because it's, I don't know, like a person that's been to prison a lot. What's that called? I can't think of the word, but anyways, they get used to it. You know, they're in the cycle. So it's like, that's how I was when I was younger. Just stayed in trouble all the time, no matter what I was doing, even if
a habitual offender. Is that what you're trying to get to?
Something like that.
I had that label as far as my driving record went. Yeah. I would speed a lot. I was always in a hurry. So yeah.
You don't speed now, though, do you?
No. I haven't for a while. We'll say that. And these these speed cameras keep us honest around here. I gotta be real with you, man. There was anyway.
I just got a new truck and I just got plates on it. I'm like, man, I can just blow all these lights. I'm like, no, I'm not. I didn't really do that, but you think that way, because
yeah. So you've kind of laid the groundwork for, you know, what kind of some of the inciting incidences and things like that. But when did you realize that you had something going on, that maybe something was wrong?
Probably, I mean, it's like I kind of knew all the time, but I always blamed it. Oh, my grandpa was an alcoholic. Oh, my other grandpa was an alcoholic. Oh, my dad was an alcoholic. I blamed it on other people to make myself feel better, I guess. But then when you really start to think about it, you know, when your mom's like, okay, this needs to stop, or, you know, it's 4 Oaks, or, you know, at a young age.
So you did go to those places?
No, I was lucky enough I didn't, but I was on probation from like 8th grade to sophomore year in high school, I think. So I mean, for 3 or 4 years, and I had to do UAs once a month, and yeah, that's probably yeah. I don't know.
So from the time you were like 16?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, no, from however old you are in 8th grade.
Okay.
Till I was probably 17. Then I got off probation. But
yeah.
But then I just continued to do other stuff. You know, drink all the time, parties all the time.
Yeah. What were you, so when you were partying and things like that, what were you like? Was it like
not good? I mean, you know, there's those people that drink they go out to dinner and they have a drink and then they go home and they're fine.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't like that. Like, I wouldn't go out to eat, or I usually wouldn't eat before I drank just so I could, get drunk faster. Like, if I was going to drink, it was going to be to get drunk. It wasn't just to socialize or, just let loose, I guess. It would be to basically just get blackout drunk. And that's the problem.
My somebody once told me, they were like, Nick, when you drink, you don't drink to have a good time. You drink to finish the bottle.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, in the moment when somebody tells you that, you're like,
yeah, that's cool,
yeah. Yeah, especially when you're young and you don't know the impacts that it could have on your health and relationships and all those other things. You're like, yeah, I can drink more than you, and there was almost some type of like a trophy that you thought you were going to get for that, and
you think you're a BA.
Yeah. And that's so false. I wish I could go back and tell myself, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude, stop that. But it was in those moments when I was trying to finish the bottle, and either I got close or I did, and then I threw up or whatever it was afterwards, that I thought, oh yeah, I did it. I've leveled up my drinking game. You know what I mean? I think, and it's in those moments where like, there's a picture that I've always kept, and it's of a man taking a drink, but then the drink taking the man. Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I have.
And it's in those moments when that happens, when you're like prideful about how much you drink or what you can drink, and you're kind of like macho drinking, if you will.
Yep.
And I think I don't know if all men go through that, but I know I did. And it went from like, oh, can you drink the tougher stuff? Can you drink like Everclear? Can you drink Bacardi 151?
Are you a man?
Yeah. Oh, that's a sissy drink. Are you just going to have a beer? No, you're going to have a shot too. Give me a double. All that's when the drink starts to take the man.
Yep.
And we don't realize it in the moment, but those habits are being formed and at a very early age. And the way that like we were raised culturally, I think, it was like, that's normal. You know what I mean? Everybody's doing that. All my friends were drinking that way. Most of them were anyways.
Like, if I don't keep up with them, they might not be my friends anymore.
Yeah. Like you kind of declared at the beginning of the night, tonight we're going to get messed up. You know what I mean? And everybody just drank aggressively right away. And it was like, dude, you don't know it yet, but this is the foundation of alcoholism.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, as I think back on it, it was really scary. There was a lot of moments that my adult self, if I could look back at me as a son or as like somebody that I was trying to take care of, I'd be like, dude, you were putting yourself in so much danger in those moments. So much. But I think at the end of the day, man, God has a plan for us, and we got to go through the mud if we want to find the light.
That's so true.
So I think it's in those moments where I learned a lot about myself, and I wouldn't tell anybody ever to go through those things. I would actually advocate not to, because you'll be able to find yourself faster if you don't.
Yep.
But I had a lot of it created a lot of fog in my life. So yeah.
I remember getting a keg and calling out, "Oh, sunrise," which we'd drink till the sunrise, and most of us did. I mean, that's like 5 or 6 guys, have a little party and then they finish a keg. I mean, that's not really good when you're 18, 19 years old. I mean, that's a lot of alcohol for a bunch of kids.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's
was that 140 beers?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot though.
Yeah, it's a ton.
How many can you drink? Yeah. So, okay. So do this one. Describe a time when you were the most messed up. Like if it was a bender, if it was a one night thing, just tell me about a time when you feel like you were the most messed up.
Oh. So when I was a kid, I remember like waking up in my car in the garage and it was still running. And I thought, what the heck? what's going on here? Holy crap. So I just got up, shut it off. The garage was still open, thank God. But I went inside, passed out, got up the next day, and didn't really think anything of it at that point. I mean, I don't want to think about that, but just seeing the look on my mother's face, if that door would have been closed, yeah. But it's like I had the same friends pretty much all through high school, and like most of my friends I've known since like second grade. But when those friends start saying, "Hey, man, I don't know if we're gonna go out with you because
you're messy."
Yeah, I would get so drunk, and I would just run up. Like I'd go into the strip club, I'd get up on stage and swing around the pole, and then we'd all get kicked out. So it's like, okay, you just ruined the night for everybody. We all paid to get in here. Like, thanks. But it's just like stuff like that. Like what are you doing? That's if I could go back and tell my younger self, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
because you couldn't handle it, right? You got to a point where you couldn't handle it, and you became more of a burden than a blessing on anybody that you were with or around.
Yeah. Like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Oh, Jared's on one.
There's this fifth shot. He's bound to go up there now. It's just sad. But
yeah. Tell me about a moment that you look back on with the most regret.
Just putting my wife through all that stuff. I mean, just, because she's worked her tail off her whole life to get to where she is now, because her parents were, they went to the bar a lot and she didn't want that life. So she went to college. She, got away from everything. Like the only reason she really drank when she was younger was because, her friends did.
Yeah.
But I mean, she didn't really enjoy it. She just did it because that's what you do at that age, I guess. But just hurting her, and hurting my mom and my family, just knowing that, I basically turned my back on them for something that's definitely not worth it. I mean, it's for a drink or a drug, you should never turn your back on your family for something like that. And if you do, then you need to change right away.
Yeah.
I mean, just yeah. It's the one thing that I would definitely do is not hurt her and my family. I'm just lucky enough that she took me back, and that my kids are young enough that, they won't remember that guy.
Yeah.
And they're not gonna, because that guy ain't ever coming back. I promise you that. From what I know now, from then, no.
Yeah, me too, brother. Me too. On that note, it's kind of like one of those things. That's one of the things that like really inspires me to keep moving forward is how bad I know now how bad I was.
Yep.
In the moment, I probably didn't process it. You know what I mean? There was like a blocker because alcohol is a thief and a liar, and it will tell you that you're fine. Yep. I'm okay. And it will do that. So yeah, you need me to keep going, and that's, but yeah, that's what it does to you, man. It lies to you about like what like how much you don't like, how bad you are. So, yeah. Let's see here. So speaking of that, when did you start to, at what point did you realize, man, there's something here that I gotta do something about it? Because I think it takes a while for any of us to get there. And there's some indicators along the way. And that's like, you don't go right into the maintenance phase of change. there's like the precognition, right? Like, so when did you find yourself in that precognitive place where you're like, I might have some real issues that I need to start working on?
Okay, so I had that in my drinking days, and I'm like, okay, my wife was always upset with me. There was a reason for that because I was making her upset with me. You have those people that are always like, oh yeah, she's always nagging at me and yelling at me. You know why that is? Because you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
That's the only reason your wife is yelling at you and nagging at you.
You are not meeting expectations, brother.
It's not because you left your dirty pants on the floor. That's not it. It's because you're at the bar every night. But so she was getting upset. So I'm like, okay, I'll quit drinking. 2012, that was my New Year's resolution. I quit smoking cigarettes and I quit drinking. I quit drinking for 2 years.
Ooh.
Yeah. But then I hurt my back in the middle of that 2 years and started taking painkillers.
Yeah.
So then it was like, okay, well, I'll just, oh, my back's feeling fine, but those made me feel great.
There was some type of a buzz that went with those.
Yep.
And you were like, ooh, this could supplement my need for this.
Like, okay, I'm over the alcohol craving, but what is this? It's like, and then that's the thing about a drug is, you take it once. Oh man, that made me feel amazing. You take it twice. Okay. That, 3, 4, 5, whatever times, but you're always trying to get that first feeling. You're chasing that high, and it's never gonna be the same as it was that first time. And that's a problem. It's the same way with alcohol too. You go to a good party. Hey man, I had a blast. Let's do that again this weekend. Let's try to get that. Let's try to do it better this time. Let's make that buzz more intense. I want to feel like super high or whatever it is that you're chasing. And that's what gets people. And I mean, and once it gets a hold of you, it is tough to let go. I mean, it really is. But so then I went to that. And so then I'm thinking, okay.
So were you just taking what you were prescribed?
Yeah.
Cause I have some history with this. So I know what that looks like. I went for a back problem. Similar. What'd you do to your back, by the way?
Lifting up a big piece of concrete.
Just strained it, spasm.
Like a muscle. Went to the chiropractor. It was decent. They gave me muscle relaxers and
get rid of those. Those make you feel like you're dreaming.
Yeah, hydrocodone. And oh wow, my back don't hurt anymore. But then once it heals, those things will get you like quick.
Yeah. Yeah, they will. I can remember having those, and the back problem was gone because by the way, just for anybody that's like listening to this that has like some back problems and you're seeking some type of relief from pain, stretch.
Yep. Figure
out how to stretch. And I promise you that if you stretch your legs and you stretch your lower back and you do the exercises, that pain will subside within a couple of days. Yep. The same amount of time that painkiller would have sedated that pain. But then you're left with 26 more painkillers and you don't know what to do with them over the next 3 weeks, but you can take them recreationally to catch a buzz or get stoned. I mean, I would equate it to the same feeling that lasts about the same amount of time as smoking pot or having a bunch of drinks. You know what I mean? It's and that feeling, to your point, the more you take them, the less time it lasts. Yeah. Just like the more you drink, the more you have to drink. Yeah. You know what I mean?
You're always chasing it.
Yeah. And you become chasing it. And then all of a sudden that bottle wears out and you're like, you take the last pill and you're like, oh, I don't know. What am I going to do?
Who do I know?
Well, or can I go back and tell my doctor that my pain is still there? And I think a lot of people do that.
Yeah.
Or have done that. And that's a massive problem, man. A massive one.
Yeah, like you said with stretching. So I still had a little bit of back pain, but when I started working out, doing push-ups, man, because push-ups will strengthen the muscles around your back.
Mm-hmm.
You're golden after you do some push-ups.
Yeah.
It's. I'll have to make a video of that.
I'll be looking forward to it.
Stretching and because the chiropractor showed me a bunch of different stretches to do. So
yeah,
as long as whoever's listening subscribes.
Yeah, we'll get them to subscribe. What's the channel called, by the way?
Keep flexing on them.
Yeah,
with the flexing emoji.
I'll put that in the. I'll put that in the in the video, and I'll tag it in our podcast here, so people can find you and subscribe to your YouTube channel. So that's good. Okay, so getting back to this, tell me about when you started to notice you're different, and like at that point, like when you knew that you were different, and you had gone from drinking to opioids, right? Because that's what they are. They're opioids.
Yep.
How would you use those, and what kind of challenges did they create?
Well, when you drink, you gotta, you can smell that. When you take a pill, you just take it and then you go. You might notice it in your eyes or something, but
yeah.
So you kind of start out just 1 or 2 a day, or 1 or 2 a week, and then you get deeper into it. But then after that 2 years, I'm like, okay, well, I think I would have a handle on my drinking now. I quit for 2 years, but then you go back into that, and then it was drinking and pills, because you drink so much. Oh, I'm hungover. I know what will cure that. Take a couple pills, your hangover's gone. Boom, you start drinking again. It's just a
vicious cycle.
Yeah, I was going to say horrible cycle. It's not a good way to live. It's not, because it's not a positive way to live either.
I would say that it's not even living, man.
Yeah, yes,
it's a very synthetic way of living, and you no longer have your authentic self.
Yeah, you don't. And that's, people don't notice it right away because you're hiding it so well. So then, and then when they do, you're just in complete denial. Oh no, why would I do that? With like drinking, the lies that you tell, that it's like nothing coming out of your mouth is the truth anymore, because you say, oh, I'm going here to get this, but really you're going to meet somebody to get something, and you just tell stories, and oh, why did it take this long to run to Menards, or it's just, you just create a life that is, like you said, it's not living at all.
No,
you're just, yeah.
And I can remember in those moments, like you would still have like warm, fuzzy, like feelings around family. And it's not like it completely made you a different person, because I can there's something called euphoric recall, right? Like, and I can, and I have that euphoric recall, and that like I love euphoria more than as much as the next guy does, but I know what it takes to become euphoric in that synthetic way is not good for me. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of trauma packed into those things, but it's not like when I used that stuff in the moment, like right away, that it created a bunch of problems. Actually, I had a very like warm, fuzzy feeling about a lot of stuff.
Yep.
But it was what came afterwards, like the mood changes.
Oh yeah.
The how you'd get angry real quick about little things. You become agitated, and that created a lot of problems.
Yeah.
In my family, in my relationships, in my friendships, in my work. It was just terrible. I don't know if you had anything like that.
Yeah, it definitely, like the time, a day or two later, if you don't have any more, you get like, okay, you need that fix, so to speak, but you do get angry, like upset over the littlest things that'll bother you. It's crazy what they do to you. It's it's yeah, it's horrible. It's disgusting. I mean, it's just bad news.
Yeah. Did you ever get into trouble with that stuff? When I say trouble, I mean like with the law.
No, not with the law. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
But like my wife would find, some, and she'd be like, well, what is this? And then she'd tell me, hey, this changes the chemical in your brain. That's why you're acting like this. That's why you're acting out, and whatever. You try to shrug it off, I guess, but
Yeah. So
she knew what she was talking about.
yeah, I'm sure yeah, of course she did. She's your wife and she's a woman and they are the smartest people in the world. So,
yes, they are. Strongest person.
Yeah,
Too,
yeah. We don't deserve them, man.
For real.
Oh gosh.
I mean, if someone can push out a 9-pound baby, I mean, that is just impressive.
Yeah. Yeah. So so where were you at in your journey with your addiction when you had a child?
I was 2017 is when we had our daughter, and I was drinking off and on, but I was still, taking pills off and on. I tried to get away from it. I kept telling myself, hey, something needs to change here, but it never did. I didn't have that, whatever you want to call that, to get there. I didn't have that motivation to push myself.
Strength, motivation, tenacity.
It was like, when you're deep into something, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. This is like, this is my thing. This is what I do.
This is my best friend.
You get stubborn, so to speak. And you're not going to change for anybody. This is the way I am, but that's not the way you should do it. But yeah, after my daughter was born, it was like, okay. And I remember my wife was tired, so she went to bed, and I stayed up and watched her. And I drank like a 12-pack of beer. I don't think I took any pills that night, but I remember my wife waking up and she was angry. Like, I trusted you to watch our kid, and you drank this many beers. Like, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Do you need help? Oh no, I just watching the game, blah blah blah. It's like stuff like that you shrug off, but you really should be paying attention to those spots, because a lot of people, they think they don't have a problem, and that's when you have a problem. It's when you wake up and you don't wake up.
Yeah,
reality doesn't hit you.
Yeah, and you don't see that coming. That's a blind spot. It creates a blind spot for us, because we think that we're going to be able to perform and do the things that we need to do because that's normal for us, right? And at the end of the day, that's the addictive mind state. That's exactly what an addict thinks, is that I can use and still do my job. Wrong.
Yeah. You're going to change everything that you're doing, and everybody around you is going to notice it.
Yeah.
I mean, rather you think, oh, am I hiding this well enough? No, you're not. Like, people notice that stuff. I used to work with a guy, and the second he got off of work, he would go to the gas station, buy a 30-pack, drink all of it, come into work the next day late, just reeking like alcohol. His eyes were, and it's like, I drank, but it's like, man, if you're at that point, it's like you just need to change. I mean, you are beyond. I feel. It's like there's like I said earlier, the people that go out to eat, they have a drink. Those people are okay. They got a handle on it. It's the people that like me and you. You give us a beer and we're drinking 30 of them until we black out, until it's, and now we know, okay, this is not for us. And look where we are now. I wouldn't be here today if I was still drinking. Would you?
No, I would 100% be dead.
Yeah.
100%. Like but I certainly wouldn't be living in this house with my wife and being able to be a good parent to my children. I would be in a much stickier situation, or I'd be dead. Yeah. Yeah, man.
You wouldn't be the role model you are right now.
Because one drink turns into a whole, one sip turns into a whole drink, and one drink turns into 3, and 3 turns into 12, and then 12 turns into a bottle in my cabinet, to, several more bottles being hidden around the house, to me blacking out and not even being present with my family. And that's the obstacles that created for me. And not to take it a step further, but like, if there was a painkiller, or if there was something else that, you could do to increase the euphoria or keep buzz going, it was like, give me all of that.
That's the thing about it too.
With no hesitation on
you could lose everything.
Yeah. Or your child could get into a grave situation, a terrible situation because of you. Yep. And I've seen that with a lot of guys that I've talked to. I've seen that happen so many times, and they come to me with so much regret and so much shame, you know what I mean? Because of what that addiction did to them. And it's just such a hard thing to process through, man. Such a hard thing to process through. But for me, I got really sick. Did you ever get sick? Like, when you stopped doing this stuff, or when you, like, at the end, when you were still doing it, did you ever get sick?
No, thank God. That was the thing. Like, when I quit drinking, I went to pills. So it wasn't, it's like the pills, I had something else. But when I quit the pills, I was thinking, you see these commercials, which they need commercials like that. And this, they're just, withdrawal. I didn't really have that. And I'm glad because
you're lucky.
That stuff it's bad. And that's what scares a lot of people away from quitting. Like, well, I don't want to do that because it's going to put me through this. Like, with anything in life, beauty is pain. You know what I mean? Like, to get somewhere good, you're going to have to go through some shit, so to speak. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. But, and if you want something bad enough, you are gonna get it. You are gonna go out there and you are gonna give it everything you got, no matter what it takes. I mean, that's like, if anybody out there is struggling with addiction, just get help right away. No matter what you're going through, no matter what you are doing, honest to God, I am on top of the world right now, and so is Nick. I can see it in his eyes. He's a better person. And I don't really even know him. Yeah. But I do know him because he's going through the same thing that I am.
Yeah.
So if you're struggling, do whatever it takes to get help.
Today.
Because once you get there, oh man.
Yeah.
The grass is so much greener over here, folks. I'm telling you.
It's
happier.
But it took work to get here. Let us not breeze past that. I remember when I quit drinking, the first 2 weeks were the hardest 2 weeks of my entire life, because one shot, one of anything could have taken away an immense amount of pain. And I know a lot of people out there that are, they're binge drinkers or whatever, and they come out of the fog on Monday morning or Sunday afternoon, right? And they kind of go through the Sunday scaries or the Monday scaries, whatever you want to go call it, and they can process through their week until Wednesday, and then Thursday comes around and it's Thirsty Thursday, and at night on a Thursday you can be like, oh, I can have one. I've gotten through the hard stuff, so I'm ready to go or whatever. If you just stop right there and decide, no, it's not going to be me this time. I'm not going to be the one that starts drinking on a Thursday and misses the next 2 weeks of my life because of it, or lets it disrupt my family time. Let us not forget the work that it takes to have the mental fortitude to make the decision and follow through with that.
Yeah, it's tough.
I mean, I drank so much that when I stopped, I had the night sweats. I had tremors. I trembled. I couldn't put thought, like my brain stopped working to a certain degree. But that's how it was. Like anytime that the buzz would wear off at the end for me, like anytime the buzz would wear off, I would be like, I'd be jittery. I couldn't text. I couldn't send emails. Bro, I couldn't do my job. Like I literally could not do my job. You know what I mean? I couldn't show up for my wife and have a conversation. Like she would be talking and I couldn't take in just all the words.
You're elsewhere.
And that's if you've ever gotten to that point where you cannot process what people are saying to you, that is when you have to stop. But when you do, it's going to take a couple weeks of hard stuff and desire to overcome that. And I never want to graze over that. Like, hey,
yeah, no, I hear you.
Because it's extremely challenging. I think how many days sober are you?
906 today.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot, brother.
And counting.
Yeah,
buddy.
Because you can't stay clean on yesterday's shower, brother.
That's right.
You cannot. So, okay. So so take me through when you decided to get sober. What happened? Was there an inciting incident? Was there something that was it a conversation with your wife? Because for me, it was.
So where do I start this?
Yeah.
All right. So my wife knew something was going on with these pills. She was like, okay, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Like it was so bad that we had a tracking app on our phones. So she could see where I was. I could see where she was. She went to work. I went and did other stuff that you shouldn't do. But so I'm like, okay, so I was going to get something and I left my phone at home. So she didn't know that I went there trying to be slick. But she had came home and found my phone, went through it, seen everything, which, at that time I was like, man, why would you go through my phone?
Oh yeah. You're the victim.
It's a blessing in disguise. So the next day, her mom lived with us at this time. The next day, she calls my mom. She calls my sister. I'm at home with the kids. I hear her mom's phone ring. She answered, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, do whatever you have to do to get him out of here. And I heard that, and I'm like, oh,
that's
man.
Heavy.
Like everything that, that I have is gone now. So my mom and sister came over. They said, get your stuff. She doesn't want you here anymore. But at that point in my life, I knew that I would never touch a drug or never touch a drink again because they are my everything. No matter what anybody says, no matter what. That's my family.
Uh-huh.
That's and now it's gone. So I went and I lived with my mom. We looked into doing rehabs and all that stuff. But the sad thing about rehab is half of them are so expensive that if you're a drug addict, you're already broke because you spent all your money on the drugs and they're so expensive that you can't get in them, or half of them are full. It's like we need to create a different system to help these people because they're sick and they want to get help. Anyway, so I went over there. I was over there for 38 days. That was my rehab. I sat and talked to my mom. My grandma lived with her at the time. And it was a reality check. It was like, okay, I know exactly what I want in life. I know exactly what I need. Like, this is my change. I've been saying this in my head for the last 6 years. Something needs to change. Something needs to happen. And it did. They say the way that I feel, every negative situation in your life, no matter how you look at it, there's something positive in it.
Mm-hmm.
So this whole addiction was the negative thing. My wife said, leave. We don't want you here anymore. That was my wake-up call to create this positive monster that I am today. because if she wouldn't have taken those extra steps, I mean, she could have just said, get out, you know, and instead of calling my mother. So that right there shows me that she still cared. Instead of calling my sister, that, you know, she went to them and said, hey, he has a problem. He needs help. We need to help him. Instead of just saying, get out of here, you know.
Discard you.
Yeah. She knew I needed help, and she knew that they would help me. So I went over there. That was, you know, that was my rehab. That was my wake up call. That was my reality kick to the face.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, it's either this, like my mom said, it's either the messed up road or the straight road. And this time I'm choosing the straight road, because there is nothing better in life than your family. They will never turn their back on you. And guess what? That bottle of booze, that pill, that whatever, that drug, it will turn its back on you. It's not always going to be there for you. It's so yeah, I went there, and you know, my wife was nice enough to do phone calls with the kids.
Yeah.
You know, and that during it was all smiles, but after that it's like, okay.
Yeah, because you're distanced from them at that point, and you want to be with them, and you realize how important that is to you.
Yeah, it's your everything. And if it's not, then you need to change, because yeah. And I remember my mom saying, you're lucky, because I wouldn't have did that for your dad. I wouldn't have called him on the phone and let him talk to you kids. So just know she still cares about you. And that was more motivation than I could ever have. Like, I know she still cares. I'm going to do whatever it takes to get her back.
Yeah.
And my family back, because they're the reason I'm here. They're the reason all this stuff happened. Yeah. I mean, it's then after that, it was just, life is going to be so much better now. I'm not going to take a second of this for granted. I'm going to cherish every single moment God gives me on this green earth, because if you don't think of life like that, if you're not living life like that, then you for sure need to change.
Yeah.
If you're not waking up every morning and looking in that mirror and you got a big smile on your face and you thank God that you're here, you need to change.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're waking up feeling like complete dog,
crap,
you need to change. I mean, it's...
Yeah, so what holds you accountable to your sobriety today? What changes did you make? What did you start doing that it still help you today? Man. So I guess the more effective question here, Jared, is what did you do to start cleaning up the mess?
Yeah, I got the broom out. I got the mop out. I got the biggest wet wipes they sell. I was cleaning up everything in sight. So when I was at my mom's, I thought, okay, it's time to change. It's time to get healthy. Mm-hmm. I had some old weights from when I was in like 8th grade or something, and I just started working out, and that just was like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do now. This is if I'm gonna be here for my family and they're gonna stand there and be strong for me, guess what? I'm gonna be really strong for them. So I started working out like like nobody's business. I mean, it was daily. And then when she finally let me come home, I'll never forget that. She finally let me come home. It was, okay, now it's time to really get to work. Yeah. Now it's time to make up for all those times.
Yeah.
So then I would get up early, And you ever heard of Jillian Michaels?
Yeah, I have.
The Biggest Loser. Oh
Yeah.
man. So this lady makes these videos, and when I say they're intense, that's just an understatement. It's a 30-day shred is how I started. 10-pound weights. And I did this. There's level 1, level 2, and level 3. I did level 1 for 30 days. I said, I'm not done with this yet. I did level 2 for 30 days. I said, I'm not done with this yet. Then I did level 3, which that's when them abs just popped out of nowhere. I was like, okay, this is what's up. And I literally became obsessed with it. Like I did so much research on it and so many different things on it. And, watching all these videos, I'm like, they're not saying anything that's, too hard. And even a couple of buddies were mine that I work out with. They're like, man, you should just make a YouTube channel. You've kind of been through some stuff. You could tell your whole story on there. So I'm like, no, man, I ain't doing that. Yeah. And then I got to thinking like, man, I am doing that.
Yeah.
And it just, it's not real popular yet, but I mean, it got 300 subscribers in 6 months.
That's awesome.
We're doing it. And I do different stuff, fitness videos, motivation, recovery videos. I mean, that's why I'm here, because I put that video on Facebook, and some of it is like, bam, okay, you get an idea in your head and it's there. You do it, you edit it. Holy crap, like quick.
Yeah.
Because the addiction video that you've seen, I got up early one day, went down in the basement and worked out, and I said, I said it in my head, and then I recorded it, and that was, I mean, it's that simple. Like it's that natural to me that, if you experience something in life, which is another sad thing, you have to go through trauma to get to the treasure, I guess.
Yeah, your mess becomes your message, bro.
Yeah, yes, I love that. But yeah, it's
so fitness has been a big help for you. I worked out last year. I ran around the neighborhood and I ran over to the gym and I would lift a little bit and I got into really good shape. And then last winter slacked off, right? Just cut the diet out of it, cut the running out of it, lifted a little bit, and then eventually just stopped lifting. This year, a buddy of mine had got a hold of me and he was like, hey man, he was like, you got to come to the gym. And I was like, no. He was like, no, you got to come to the gym. And I was like, well, I'll tell you what, if you go to church with me, I'll go to the gym with you. And he was like, all right, bet, we'll do it. I'll come. And I was like, okay, sweet. What time are we going to work out? He goes, 4 a.m. I was like, man, you tricked me, dude. And anyway, long story short, I go to the gym at 4 o'clock in the morning now. And all my boys go to church with me too. So like all my gym partners are now going to church with me. And it's been this like really cool, like bond that we have created with each other, and our families are like all friends and stuff now. So that's been going really well. But one of the things that I noticed about myself after I started working out, and I would get tired throughout the day, because I think working out from 2 to 4 in the morning or from 4 to 6 in the morning and then coming home and then like attacking the rest of the day, like I'll fall asleep, take 2-3 naps a day. You know what I mean? I'm 41 years old also. So maybe my like, huh?
You're still young.
Yeah. But like, I just thought like, man, I'm just running low. And I did a podcast with Dr. Matthew Kettman. I don't know if you've heard of him before. Yep. But he owns a clinic called Evolve Regenerative Medicine. And he does something called testosterone pelleting. I don't know if you've heard of this before, but he was like, you should come in and check this out and we'll check your levels and everything else like that. So we identified that like I could go up, you know what I mean? And
there's a certain level you can get to.
So I did that about a month ago, 3 weeks ago. And no, when you did that, that's how I feel right now. I will tell you this, that I have never in my life been so like, I feel like a 20-year-old man.
Yep.
and I'm 41
everywhere too.
And and not to be gross or anything, but
No,
like,
I know,
but everywhere, man. And I'm like, I am living at this point right now. And in the last week, I texted him the other day. I was like, hey, I think it's starting to work. In the first couple of days, I felt it a little bit, but like it took a while for it to really take effect. But that pelleting that Evolve did for me has dramatically changed like the output that I can produce every single day. And I am just excited to go to the gym.
Oh yeah.
3:30 in the morning. I'm like up making a cup of coffee. Like, let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's go get this weight.
Having a high testosterone level, definitely. I mean, it helps you everywhere. Like I said, like your mind, your strength, like you become stronger. Cause, when I first started working out, I think it's Muscle Tech, they make a testosterone booster, and I started taking that, and like the first couple weeks, it was like, holy moly, like I've never trained like this before. It's almost like a pre-workout, but
all day.
It's all the time. It's not, that half hour or whatever that lasts. But yeah, it's definitely a good thing to have everywhere.
Yeah. No, mind, body, soul, man. It's like it's awesome. And I was just so thankful that I didn't even know about that resource. But when you talk about going to the gym to raise your testosterone levels, like that hit me in the heart. And I was like, dude, that's something that has really worked for me and helped me like take my life to the next level. So I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely boosts your energy levels. Like and a lot of people think, oh, it's like testosterone rage, but you don't get that. It's not like
it's not an anabolic steroid.
Yeah, it's not a steroid. It's just testosterone. It's what's in your body already. It's just the booster for it. I mean, that's, and if your levels are low, why not? I mean,
Where do you work out?
Planet Fitness.
Yeah. How often you go?
So in the winter, I went 60 days in a row, which is crazy. You need your rest days. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah.
But I just, you get to 30 and you're like, I'm gonna keep going. I can't stop. I just, like I said, I'm obsessed with it. It's a game, a game changer, dude. Like when I take a shower, I don't not look in the mirror for, a little bit. Sorry to be like, sound cocky or whatever, but it's the truth. And everybody that works out knows it. I mean, there's not a mirror you don't walk by and you don't flex in it.
A little Zoolander in you, you know what I mean? Like,
But I went 60 days in a row, which then I was like, okay. So then I took a week off, and I'm like, okay, I switched up my whole routine. Now I do 3 days a week, which I'll switch it back to 4 after the weather changes, because I run the other 3 days. So Fridays are my rest day. I don't work out. I don't run. I just chill. I eat on Fridays. That's what I do on Fridays.
Yeah.
Because that's another one. I was 130 pounds when I started working out, and now I'm at 146, and I'm slowly gaining the weight. It's hard for us little guys, which a lot of people don't talk about that. You know how hard it is to lose weight? No, I don't. You know how hard it is to gain weight? Let's switch metabolisms.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I love it. And I think I talk to a lot of different people at the gym. One, just because I have the confidence now, because when I started working out, I was like, I'm just going to work out from home. I walk in the gym, they're going to be like, what's this little guy doing in here? I didn't have that confidence, but once I got it, and then I went to the gym a couple of times with my brother-in-law, and it's like a kid in a candy store. What am I going to do first? Okay, I'm going to do this. And then 2 hours later, you're like, holy crap,
I love that.
I am burnt out.
Yeah.
But I talked to a lot of people, and they're there. 80% of people are in that gym because they're either an addict, and they're, so many people, whether it's, alcoholic, a drug addict, a food addict, because that's also being an addict.
Mm-hmm.
But they're there because they don't ever want to go back to that life. I mean, and you see them too, and you can tell. You got your athletes that's been working out their whole life, and you could tell they've been working out their whole life. But us, the new guys, we're still giving it everything we got because we ain't ever going back to what we were, and that's that's what that's that's my motivation when I think about my past. I just you can bench so much more when you have that.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? Okay. So just a couple more questions here. Do you ever get triggered still to drink?
No.
Yeah, me either.
I just that it's a day by day thing, and like you said, after your 2 weeks, your month, whatever it is, when you have those withdrawals, those cravings, those things that are still in your mind, because they say it takes 30 days to develop a habit or forget a habit. That's why most rehabs are 30 days. But it was like after the first week, I didn't even, I didn't even think about that stuff anymore because I knew, that that's another good thing about that family support. And if you don't have family support, we're here for you.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's what we're trying to do.
I mean, there's so many different places you can go for help, and oh man, we could go on and on and on.
I think that you could be you're such a resource for people who want to make that change, simply because A, you've done it and you have a lived experience there, right? Mm-hmm. And B, you're inviting people into it. Yeah. And if you want to learn about working out, get on Jared's YouTube channel. One more time, it's Keep Flexing on Him. Yeah. And that's one of those things. If you're looking for some motivation to get sober and start working out, that's a great resource for anybody and everybody who may be looking for one. He certainly motivated me. So that being said, I have a couple more things that I want to ask you. What advice would you give the next person who's today thinking about getting sober?
Man,
outside of get in the gym.
Yeah. I would tell them, quit wasting your time in the bottle or on drugs and your money, because there's so much more out there for you. You don't have to stay in that cycle. You don't have to be a normal, that's your normal thing. Just get help.
Yeah.
I mean, as soon as possible, right away.
Yeah. Reach out to one of us.
Yeah. And if you have a dream that you're trying to chase, but you're not getting there because alcohol or drugs are in your way, quit them bad habits, go out there and chase your dream, because that dream, it's not going to chase you back. It's not going to come looking for you. It's going to stay where it is, and you're going to stay where you are unless you make that change. If you're depressed, sad, lonely, I mean, this is pure happiness right here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no better way of getting sober and being sober and staying sober and just being happy. Yeah. Like before, it was, you get depressed and yada, yada, yada.
The world's coming after me.
But yeah, paranoia, I mean, you're not anxious. Your anxiety it's not there anymore. It's great. That's what I would say. Yeah. Probably way too much to say, but
no, I think that would be perfect for somebody who's thinking about it, that just needs a little extra motivation.
And then get in the gym.
Oh, okay. So what's the biggest mess that you've cleaned up since getting sober?
Just with my wife, slowly gaining that trust back, because I lied to her for so long that it's taken her some time, and yeah, just cleaning up that mess. And then, before it was somebody seeing somebody, oh, hey, like, nope, don't want nothing to do with you now. I'm beyond that point. But just gaining that trust back that I lost, not just with my wife, with everybody, with my mother, my family, her family, just everything, because I put her through a lot, and that's But our relationship now, oh my, it is great. Like everything we do is just happiness.
You're on a team.
Yeah, exactly. And before it was, I was on team don't do that, and she was on team mom. But now the bond is it's a blessing, man. It's a blessing.
Okay,
That's
so
sure.
You're a father. You have a 4-year-old.
Yep.
What's your favorite part of being a father?
But just so, like, my son started preschool, and he's like, because he would be with me during the day, and he's like, I don't want to go to preschool. I just want to sit with you and eat popsicles all day, And it's like, no, I'm ready to get you off because I'm ready to go to the gym. But that, just, see, he's always like, park up in front so, so I can wave at you, and just seeing his little wave, and then he's crying, and it's like, man, don't show weakness. But then it's, it's like, what would I do without this? I mean, this is, oh man. And then, so when I drop my daughter off at school, because Halloween's almost coming up, I always put on a mask. And the teachers always say something like, are you ready for Halloween? Like, yeah. So she's kind of embarrassed about it, but I think it's funny.
How old is she?
She's 7.
Yeah.
But yeah, and she's just like her mother. She's really smart, read books. I mean, she's into it. My son's like me, jumping off the couch. He's Spider-Man. He's Michelangelo.
Oh yeah,
He's all them turtles, man. And which is cool because I was into Ninja Turtles, which I'm sure you.
Oh, I was
too.
totally into Ninja Turtles.
And it's like, man, this is my childhood all over again. All right.
Isn't it cool to watch them process through like what we've all been through, and have an idea as to what's going on in their mind, but get to relive that to a certain degree from an outsider's perspective.
Yeah.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's like, okay, so this is what my mom went through. I always tell her, I'm sorry. Because I know I was just like this as a kid, running around with nunchucks, breaking stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, just being a kid.
Yeah. It's fun to watch them grow.
Yes, it is.
And yeah. Yep. Man, well, any parting advice that you have for the listeners? Anything that you would tell them? Any words of wisdom that you want to leave them with?
If you're in a situation that you shouldn't be in, then you get out of it. I mean, just if you're struggling with something, get help. Just, I mean, it's out there. Make the change for the better. Yeah. It's like just get out of that cycle.
Yeah.
Let me ask you a quick question.
Okay.
When you take a shower, do you take a warm one or a cold one?
I always take a warm one.
Okay. Why don't you take a cold one?
Because it's uncomfortable.
Exactly. So once you break that cycle, you get uncomfortable. So people are, I drink, that's their comfort zone. You got to get out of there. You got to change. Plus cold showers give you more energy. So you quit that cycle.
You trying to tell me to take cold showers, bro?
Have you ever tried an ice bath?
No.
Oh man.
But I will. It's on my bucket list or my to-do list.
I got some videos on my YouTube channel of it. So I did a 30-day challenge, and I took an ice bath every day. The first day, I did a minute. The second day, I did 2. I think the third and fourth day, I did 6 or 7 minutes. But my final time was like 15 minutes altogether. and the ice was gone. The water was it that does something to your brain that
I've heard it's extremely euphoric and
yes, serotonin, like because you have proteins in your liver, and once they get shocked, all that protein goes throughout your body, so your muscles recover faster. I mean, there's a lot of different benefits from it, and freezing is one of them. That's for sure. But it's a challenge.
Yeah.
But I mean, thing with challenges, we're always going to have them in life.
Yeah, I always tell people you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yes.
And once you achieve that state of mind, you're ready for anything. You can take on any challenge.
Yeah, you can. You don't run away from your challenges. You run right at them.
Yeah.
And you accept them, because if you run away from them, they're just going to be there tomorrow, and they're probably going to be worse.
Yeah. 10 times. They just pile up. Then you got to start cleaning up messes.
Yeah. It's going to need a big dustpan.
Yep. Right on, man.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining me.
Yeah, man.
It was a pleasure to have you.
This has been awesome.
Yeah.
So I always leave my videos like this, okay?
Yeah.
Always stay focused. Always stay positive. Keep flexing on them. And God bless.
Amen.